All right, let's talk about the M, the massive bleed. We're gonna do tourniquets in this video, and I'm gonna show you some parts of the tourniquet, dispel a few myths, and then show you actually how to apply a windlass style tourniquet like this, meaning it's got a stick to twist, and the rapid style tourniquet, which is slightly different. I'll show you how both of these work. Now, before we get into it, I want to dispel a couple of myths, such as if you put on a tourniquet, you're gonna lose the limb. That's actually not true unless you leave it on for several hours, meaning 6+ hours, 8+ hours. There has been one documented case of a patient losing a limb due to a tourniquet that I'm aware of. There are a lot of circumstances involved, and the guy had a tourniquet on for something like 24 hours or something like that. So keep in mind, just because you use a tourniquet, you're not gonna lose the limb, period, okay? Number two, we go high and tight on the limb, right? Just like the haircut, whether it's the leg or the arm, you're gonna go up as high as you can on that limb when you put the tourniquet on. That'll do several things for us that I'll kind of talk you through once I'm putting it on. And lastly, we're gonna go over the close with our tourniquet. The reason we go over the close is we simply don't have the time to cut off clothes, to take clothes off, because we're dealing with a life-threatening bleed. You can bleed out in less than 3 minutes, especially if it's a femoral injury, right, on your leg. We don't deal with that. We go right over the clothes, high and tight, just like the haircut. All right, so let's talk about the parts of a windlass style tourniquet. The actual length of the tourniquet, I just call this the tail. So when I say tail, this is what I'm referring to. You're gonna have the securing device here, the backing plate, the buckle, and the windlass, right? So the windlass is the stick part that you're gonna twist. Again, high and tight over the limb. Now, if you can't get to the limb, if it's pinned under something, you can definitely keep it unbuckled and come underneath that limb and put it on. And you can absolutely keep it in a loop, which is the way I like to store it. You simply just loop it onto the limb, and immediately you're already buckled up, so you can tighten it down. Now, turn for me. So when you're putting on this tourniquet and tightening it down, you want to take all that slack out. The number one reason for a failed tourniquet is people aren't taking all the slack out, so keep that in mind. All the slack comes out, lift up your arm, and you're gonna go ahead and Velcro the tail to the rest of the band like that. Now, once you have that Velcroed on, then you can start twisting the windlass until the bleeding stops, okay? Right there, or after that bleeding stops, then you can secure that windlass inside the securing device here. Now, keep this in mind. You can turn clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't matter at all. And you can also secure it on either side of the securing device. So keep that in mind. Doesn't matter which way you turn it. So once you've got this locked in, you're still not done, because if you put this securing strap over like this and you leave this tail out, if that catches on something, your tourniquet's gone, right? So we're not done just yet. We're gonna take that tail and tuck it through that securing device along with the windlass. So it looks like this. Now, once that tail's through, then you're gonna take that securing band, pull it across, Velcro it down, and it says time right here on the band. Don't forget to write the time. Annotate when you applied this tourniquet. All right, that's gonna go up to the higher echelons of care. The ER, the surgeons, they're gonna wanna know when this tourniquet came on or went on, all right? Again, this is a very, very simple life-saving procedure, guys. Straightforward. So once your tourniquet is on, we're not gonna take it off, right? This thing is not coming off until it gets to the hospital. Also, we're not gonna loosen a tourniquet for any reason. That's kind of the opposite of what we're going for, right? We've just stopped this life-threatening bleed. We're not gonna loosen it to let a little blood in. And also, keep this in mind, tourniquets hurt. They are painful to the patient. So if that patient is conscious and can talk to you and doesn't say that, ouch, this hurts, you probably didn't do it tight enough, right? So again, keep that in mind and assure your patient, hey, look, this is gonna hurt. I know this has to happen. This is saving your life, because again, they do hurt. So that is it for the windlass style tourniquet. Let's go ahead and move on to the rapid tourniquet. So this tourniquet is very simple. This is one of the things I love about the rapid tourniquet, is the simplicity of it. So the entire length of the tourniquet on this one is vulcanized rubber. You don't need to know that. What you need to know, it's stretchy material, right? And then you have the 3-finger loop here, and then the cleat here, and that's what you're gonna tuck your tail into when you're done wrapping it. And I'll show you what that looks like. So you'll take that 3-finger loop, run the tail right through it, making a big loop. Now you'll take that big loop, slide it over your patient's arm or leg, whatever is bleeding. The key is here is to go back against that 3-finger loop, right? That's what gives you the mechanical advantage to get this thing as tight as it needs to be to cut off that arterial blood flow. Now, once you're wrapping this, stretch and wrap. And what you're looking to do is basically stack the wraps, not on top of each other, but rather one below the next one, right? So it looks like this. Now you're gonna wanna get at least 3 wraps. Some people, especially with bigger legs, you might run into a challenge with that, but even if you can get 2, that's great. If it's just 1, it is what it is, but you're looking to get 3. Once you get those wraps, you're gonna find your cleat here, this little slot, and you're gonna tuck that tail right into the slot. So once you get that tail tucked into the cleat, annotate the time, and you are good to go. You've just stopped that life-threatening bleed. So now you know how to apply tourniquets. Keep in mind, always store your tourniquet on the outside of your kit. Seconds truly matter when you're dealing with a life-threatening arterial bleed. Another thing, all tourniquets will come in some kind of packaging, whether it's a clear wrap, whatever. Make sure to take it out of the packaging. That's another step that you don't have to do when seconds count. So there you have it. Now you know how to stop a life-threatening arterial bleed with a tourniquet.